Excuse me, hello everyone. Welcome to Chicago Spotlight on Recovery, where we hope to provide recovery education for families. This show is the brainchild of Barbara Tutoni, who passed away suddenly on October 13th. But it was her dream and vision to provide recovery education for families with substance abuse and mental health disorders, to provide the family members education and support to let them know that there was hope for individuals who suffer from those disorders. I'm Sterling Gildersleeve, and thank you for coming this evening and joining us. And tonight we have as our guest the president of Families, Fathers in Transition, Alex Rosenberg.
Thank you for
welcome.
having me on the show. I'm really most grateful to be here, and I thank you and our dear friend Barbara Tutoni for being the brainchild of this program, and we both know how much she was involved in wanting to reach out and help families, especially those families having to live with someone in the family with an addiction problem. And Barbara was certainly one of the best at reaching out and helping those families. And I consider this an honor, so to speak, to be on the show with you and her in spirit. Again, my name is Alex Roseborough. I'm the president, founder of Fathers, Families in Transition. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and please bear with me. I just got out of some heavy-duty traffic coming over here, and I'll be all right in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But I guess for tonight we're going to be discussing the holiday season and how it affects individuals with substance abuse issues. At this time of the year is such a stressful time for individuals in early recovery, and I guess for their family members as well.
Yeah.
Yes, it's stressful all around with a new person in recovery from substance abuse, and we would like to offer some tips, I guess, on how to get through those times and how we can get through those seasons safely for the involved. So.
And speaking of families, what I wanted to speak on tonight was more so to speak to the person who is in early recovery, who may be experiencing this holiday season as the first one not being involved or using drugs and alcohol. And I do hope that the information that we impart to you, the viewers, will be one that if you're a family or you're a family member of someone who has an alcohol or drug addiction, this information will be as helpful to you as it is to the person that we're reaching out to who is new in recovery.
Yeah, absolutely.
We know that this is a time of the year, this time of the year really gets my attention when it comes to the work that we do, because we see a number of people who come out of treatment programs and what have you who are experiencing their first, again, holiday, Christmas and New Year's, especially New Year's, I think, whereas the best suggestion that we can offer is to stay away from those situations that offer alcohol and or drugs, for that matter. And it's not always an easy thing to do when you're accustomed to being around people that are close to you who do the same kinds of things, and sometimes unknowingly and unwittingly they can put a guilt trip on you for not indulging, and that's the kind of situation that I'm hoping that we can impart to our viewers. And
you certainly mentioned that some people put people on guilt trips about their not drinking and during this time of the year. But also I've seen where individuals, even well-meaning family members, will almost be encouraging for a person to drink. They know that it's an issue for them, but they're almost forgiving. It's okay. It's the holiday. It's okay for you to drink or have a few drinks, and that's really one of the worst things a person could really do for a person in early recovery. For sure.
I think that may be more common than people realize, because then there's another aspect of that people tend to say, well, your willpower,
Indeed.
you got to have the willpower, and
Yeah.
the willpower. I won't ever say that it doesn't work for somebody, but statistics tend to bear, and experience tends to bear, that most people who have alcohol and drug addiction problems, willpower is not the way to go.
Yeah, I'm a strong proponent and always try to make the point that alcoholism and drug addiction is a disease. It's a disease recognized by the American Medical Association as a disease, and as such, it's not a moral issue. The substance abuse is a health issue,
Yeah.
and that persons need help with that as they would with any other health issue. So, yeah, absolutely.
And I'll say too that I'm very anxious. I'm very, not anxious, but excited about talking about this particular topic for this particular time of the year, because people in general, I believe, are going through all kinds of challenges with the holidays coming up upon them, be it buying gifts and all the other things that go with the Christmas holiday, the commercial aspect of Christmas. And so there's a lot of pressure and stress on people to do some things for those who don't always have the means to do those kinds of things.
Indeed.
And then it brings me back to the person who's new in recovery. Some of them face the same kinds of experiences, and so there's that additional stress and pressure put on them to, for some to try to maintain, providing those kinds of things, and when the reality sets in that that may not be possible, then we have what they call potential relapse situations. So that's the piece that I'm really concerned about for the holidays, with the new person, so to speak.
Yes, absolutely. I'm feeling the pressure to have to provide gifts when you don't have the financial means or early in recovery. Yes, indeed. And also, I think, too, the stress or the guilt factor, having the guilt factor from how not being available throughout the year previously. And having the guilt from that, and then the holiday season not being able to provide now. All of those are great, let's say, stressful situations that enhance the possibilities for relapse for an individual. Indeed.
And on my way here, I was just thinking, those families, those individuals and families who are homeless right now, who may be in shelters, transitional housing programs and things like that, who may have at once upon a time been able to do some of those things for the holidays, but there's lots of drinking and alcohol, drugs involved in that, and again, I'm talking about the pressure that's added to even those who are in homeless situations. They have children. There's hope. We work with some of those very same people, and it just, for me, it's extremely important to address this matter, because it's something that we see people that are affected by the drugs and alcohol, and my wife told me to stick to the script, and I'll try to do the best I can on that. But again, I was hoping, wanting to impart to our viewers, some pointers and some things. For an example, it can be very difficult at this time of the year for those who are active in alcoholism and drug abuse, but maybe even more so for those who are, again, in early recovery. And, early recovery for many can be especially tough this time of year due to their first year, again, facing a holiday, being new in sobriety and not drinking and drugging. The other thing would be is that time of the year when, for some of us, we are remembering lost ones or loved ones, you know, be it a family member who has died, or it could be a divorce, it could be separation, you know, and these are, in some cases, occasions when we were drinking and using, we use drinking and drugging, if you will, to sort of anesthesize, or whatever that word is,
Right,
the feelings that we were
self-medicate.
self-medicating. That's the word I was trying. Yeah, so it's that kind of thing that they can face. And first year in recovery and the holiday season, it can be one where you know you stop drinking and drugging and you're in recovery, but this is the time of the year when you might have done more of it, and now the feeling of cravings tend to creep in, you know, and it's sort of like, I call it sort of like a conditioned response.
Okay.
You know, a conditioned response that this is the time of year when, you know, it comes to that.
Yeah.
First year of recovery, well, not paying close attention to being around the people and places and things this time of the year, and you're in recovery. I mean, you've got a little time up under your belt, and you feel like you can get around those people and be okay,
Yeah.
but oftentimes temptation is much stronger than what some people call willpower.
Yeah. Yes,
You know,
indeed.
so that's one of the things. And we're talking about not paying close attention to being around, okay, the people with people, places, and things, but we also have to be mindful of triggers. You know, things that we're doing that just was a trigger for us to say it's okay to go and do what we're not supposed to do. So those are just some of the things I wanted to point out to our viewers.
Yeah, and it's, you know, and I can understand with the, you know, staying away from those places where it can be dangerous for an individual, but like I say, during this holiday season, it's like almost everyone is,
Yeah.
everyone is
Yeah.
drinking, everyone is,
Sure,
you know,
sure.
time for good cheer, and, you know,
Sure,
it's,
sure.
it's
Yeah.
people who don't even ordinarily drink,
Yeah, yeah.
drink, you know, have a, you know, a hot
Yeah.
toddy or something for the
Yeah,
holiday season,
yeah,
so.
yeah.
I think it's so difficult for a person in this,
Yeah.
during this time of the year, early in recovery, I
Yeah.
think, to get through this. Do you have some tips of some kind of what people
well,
can do?
I would say that it's important to avoid high-risk situations, celebrations where alcohol and or drugs might be provided or taken. And just to say something about that, we sometimes feel that we're sacrificing friendships if we don't be around those folks that we've been hanging out with or being around for years and years, and suddenly we're into this mode of recovery thing, and we feel guilt when we talk about guilty for not being,
Yes,
you know,
yes,
and,
right.
and that can play a part in getting involved. You know,
I've even heard it suggested that even, you know, sometimes with your family members, you wanted to spend time with the family during the holiday season, but maybe you could go early, go to the event
Sure.
early, you know, before the drinking starts, you know.
Sure.
Get there early and leave early.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
have an exit plan, have an
Yeah,
exit plan. and
absolutely,
a reason to
absolutely.
leave, you know.
I know someone who's married, and when he and his wife go out to affairs and things, they take two cars. You know,
Okay.
which was interesting. And he said they take two cars so that when he starts to feel uncomfortable, he can leave.
Oh, okay.
And they had that kind of understanding
Yeah.
that if he's feeling uncomfortable, he can leave and she can stay. You know,
Indeed,
if that's
indeed.
how they want to work it out. But if it works, it works. You know, so.
I like that idea, but you know, so often the family feels guilty too. You don't want that. I think we don't want the family members to feel guilty about them or take away from them enjoying the holidays because you have a family member who can't indulge. You know, I think everyone needs to be natural and enjoy the
Yeah,
day
yeah,
and
yeah.
not feel guarded, and because that
Yeah.
makes the recovering person feel guilty as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That they're somehow taken away from the fun of the family.
Yeah.
So I think the family should continue to enjoy as they would, but not to take away from what they ordinarily do
Yeah.
with the person in early recovery with them.
Yeah, and as you say that, brings to mind how I've heard some people talk about, you know, the family not really understanding what that person is going through.
Yeah.
You know, and so they, you know, innocently, if you will, expect that things should continue on a normal basis.
Yeah.
You know, but there's things that that this person has to change in order to not continue down the path that they've been going in terms of their addiction.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that we're hoping to impart to our viewers in these programs, the need to not only protect themselves, you know, against the personal exchanges, interactions with the person who's addicted, but also to have some kind of understanding as to what that person may be going through, whereas they can be better supported by the family. That person can be better supported by the family. And this has a little or nothing to do with what we're talking about, with the exception that I'm often, since we work with men and women coming out of the correctional system, and I'm often pleased to hear how that man or woman has a family that's supportive of him or her moving their lives forward, even though it's not going to be like it used to be.
Right.
And the family having some kind of understanding. So that same application, I think, applies to what we're talking about here with the addicted person and the family of that person having some general understanding of what this person is experiencing and what kind of support they need.
Okay,
You know,
very good.
like I know another case where somebody would say, boy, you're getting on my nerves now. You better go find one of them AAA meetings to go to or get out of my face or something like that. But that's saying the family member knows enough about that support, that kind of support, that they recommend the person going. So
Okay,
anyway,
absolutely. All right.
yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today author Alex Rosenborough with the Fathers, Families, and
Transition.
in Transition, and as our guest today. And so please give us a call with any questions or comments you might have, providing recovery education for families here. And our number is it's at the bottom of our screen, and I would like to give it to you, but I can't see it. I think it's 312-738.
1060, and I have glasses on. I think. Yeah.
1060. So please give us a call with any questions or comments.
Yeah.
So yes, so thanks, Alex. Again, I think this is a very important topic. Like I said, especially this time of the year, I've heard statistics that this is a time for the most relapses. I mean, not only relapses but suicides. Very, very high at this time of the year. So it gets to be very, very serious. The depression and the bad feelings and remorse and regrets that individuals feel, not just people with substance abuse, but just the community at large, but especially a dangerous time for individuals who are early in recovery from substance abuse.
You know, another thing that that person new in recovery should consider, I would say, but it's their prerogative, is always be prepared to say no to anyone offering, a drink or a drug. It's important that we ingrain ourselves with the ability to say no. You know, because again, you may not always have the luxury of completely avoiding those people that we talk about as being people, places, and things. For an example, if you live at home and folks drink, you know, and your favorite uncle is always saying, "Yeah, go on and take one. It ain't gonna hurt you." You know, if you don't learn how to say no and make it a specific, serious no, you're always gonna hear that favorite uncle every time. You know, say, "Come on," you know. I got your back. You know, yeah, right.
Right, absolutely. Indeed. So yes, indeed, those times can be challenging for sure.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And I think that we, you know, should look at. We have a caller.
We have a caller, so if we could, caller, your comment or question?
My question is, this is for great, and I'm enjoying the program, Recovering Education for the Family, but what about people who don't have a family? There are many people in addictions out there, especially around the holidays, who don't have family, who feel alone and don't have places to go, so it's harder for them to move away or to even not get involved with or be around those things that we're talking about, people, places, and things, and stay away from, those places where that the drugs or alcohol is. What do those people do? Where can they go or to get support?
That's an excellent question, caller. Absolutely, you're right. Absolutely right. And oftentimes, especially when someone is suffering with substance abuse and early in the process, oftentimes they don't have the support of family. They by that time burned all of their bridges, and they don't really have the support of family members that they can turn to. So Alex, what does a person do?
Thank you for that question. That's very timely. I would say I would recommend to that person that you identify some type of support meeting, be it Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, or some self-help group that you can align yourself with, where people with similar concerns, you can talk about those things and talk them through and get information, support. Even at church, let's not rule out the churches, certainly a church can be a safe haven and a place of encouragement to help that person get through, the situation of the holiday crisis. And I go back to saying the importance of being able to say no. It may sound kind of corny, but no, if you mean no, it means that someone needs to back off you if they're trying to get you to take a drink or whatever.
Indeed.
Indeed.
And I really like the idea of having the support of the self-help groups to not try to do this thing alone.
Absolutely.
We have another caller. Hello, caller. What is your comment or question?
Yes, and good evening, guys. And like the man say, ain't it so beautiful just to be able to say that two-letter word, no. To the young lady that just called you, a suggestion that I would say is this. You can't help nobody else till you can help yourself. You need to, anyone that need to learn to help themselves. Don't do anything for the family. You got to learn how to do something for yourself. How can you help your family when you can't help your own self? So again, the best thing in this world is to be a friend of Bill's and take time. It just takes time and time. But listen, nothing happens overnight. So don't think you're cured as soon as you get out. Learn the program, stick in those walls, stick in those books, and be around people who trying to be just like you. And then you learn to say that magic word, and I love to hear it. No. That's a real good day. Thanks for taking the call. Let me get out there so I can hear your response.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, caller. Excellent points indeed. We have another caller. Yes, caller, your comment or question, please.
So my comment is, this is for people who are in addictions and who are just, whether it's the beginning or middle or whatever, is to look for announcements and meetings and things like that that are tuned in specifically for places to go or things to do with people of like-minded people where they can congregate with other people over the holidays and so they won't be alone.
Absolutely.
And, there are programs out there or announcements throughout the city at different places.
Absolutely. That's so very true. That I think the point you're making and that Alex has made and others is that it's not to try to do this thing alone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of support there for individuals early in recovery who are looking for support and need to take advantage of it, wherever that might be, to take advantage of like-minded people who have the same desire of staying clean and sober.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm
sorry, Alex, we've just about run out of time, and I really want to thank you for joining us today on such a timely topic, such a very important topic of that there is help for individuals with substance abuse to stay clean and sober during this holiday season.
Well, I hope to come back.
Well, please, we'd love to have you back, please.
And continue this mission of serving, and it's recovery, sobriety. It's keep the spotlight on yourself.
Indeed. That's right.
Thank you.
And,
Yeah.
and thank you for coming to see us today.